o tla nnabele rona, o tla re jara. Le nakong ena e thata o na le rona. Me ha re tlohele moya wa hae o ye ka kgotso, o phomole, a kopane le molekane wa hae, hobane ha e sale a lelong bodutu ba bophelo bo tsejwa ke yena. Me ha e le mona a mo bitseditse ho yena, let us say it is well, and again we say it is well. Thank you.
Siyabonga Mbupedi. Let me also take this opportunity to acknowledge the presence of Bishop Paul Vereen. We appreciate that you are here, and also Comrade Tabang Sonyati, the Deputy Provincial Secretary of COSATU. Thank you for coming. If you can just stand up so that they see you. Also in our midst, we have got a former president of PAO, Comrade Ellen Mutupeng. Thank you for coming. The entire leadership of the PAC, led by Comrade Narias Muloto, thanks for being here. I was reminded that I started early than the stated time of 12 o'clock. And I'm saying that I'm a replacement. Somebody was supposed to be here, Comrade Waltalo Kulin, but it's better to start early than to start late. And we can clap our hands for ourselves for starting early than usual. We also know that other people are still coming. The unfortunate part is that they will get us while we are continuing. We will call upon the Deputy Provincial Secretary of COSATU to say a few words. I will not necessarily be lenient on you. I allow Comrade Mbupedi to say a lot because she is a woman. And this is the memorial service of Zondeni Veronica Sobukwe. I'm not intimidating you, Comrade, but you'll have to say what you have to say. Comrade Tabang Sonyati, izwe lethu eAfrika.
Malibongwe, 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 igama lamakhosikazi, izwe lethu, iAfrika. Malibongwe, Malibongwe. Ndiyathemba nalapha kwaPoqo omama babalekile. Malibongwe. Ndiyabulela. Manditsho komhlali ngaphambili noko ndimfitshane wena nendaba zam azikhonde. Zimfitshane. okhona nje esikuzele apha kukuzothi dudu kwaba kwaSobukwe sithi dudu ekelo sembulisile ngeprotocol yethu sonke kodwa if I was just to say the message from COSATU, it's that ours is to lower our banners in tribute to Mama Veronica for having been one of the fibers, one of the epitomes of those that would have been there before fighting the legacy of apartheid and actually outlived it. She is an epitome of the Sotho saying that Meotwarati Pakabohaleng. As much as she would have been a wife, but she also was an activist herself. And as an activist herself, she never thought or she never said, let me take a second seat or a back seat. But she was one of the women that we all celebrate that said we are in the forefront of the fight against apartheid and its legacy. We are at the forefront of those that are fighting for the land of South Africans, but for the land of the Africans, the land of the black child in Africa. For that, we say, Remurulela Khaibane. Having said that, this is a month of the women, and she happened to pass at the month that we all commemorate and respect women. In the fight against apartheid, there was a woman's struggle. In that women's struggle, it's that because above everything, women suffered more. And the women were able to can say, we are standing up, we are going to Sharpeville to demonstrate that we do not want the past laws. Having said that, even today, we're still facing the challenge whereby women are being attacked by their fathers, their brothers, their children, their companions. In the spirit of remembering Umama Zondeni, but also in respecting women and respecting those that are of her colleagues, those are of her fiber. May we all of us, particularly men, be able to can say that not in our name that our women are going to suffer at the hands of ourselves as men. May it be that we are unable to can honor people, particularly even to can bring them to positions of power, yet they are abusing women, they are disrespecting women. Having said that, what also pleases us is that Umama, as she lives sadly, us, we are pleased that and being confident she will be able to can share with Ubaba Robert Lapaya Apobekoyo Kwelingapaya Izwe to say the struggle for the land in South Africa is still on. Right now as it is, we are all having in our lips an agenda about land and expropriation of land without compensation. So, with her going there to report that about the land, may we, those that are here, let us not talk in many languages and many semantics. Bring back the land. Simple. Let South Africans work the land. And the land is very much important in the agenda of women emancipation and the women freedom. Mandla, isolate.
Africa, let's sing a revolutionary song. Lapho kuzongena wonke umuntu. Can you come to the podium?
Tamako thina njoza siyasothukanga nto sibona kamhlophe sithi bekumele sithethe engqondweni sithi kufanele uba ngenjalo ngesicele lonto sango leAfrika sihlangene kule nkundla namhlanje sophuka imiphefumulo siyankankazela ngoba kwenze kumangaliso the wife of the continent president umntwana omhle Chilifihlo Tego Robert Magaliso Sobukwe ilele lenkosikazi namhlanje umama wenze izinto ezinhle sibukuthana namhlanje uhamba umuntu akafale kuhamba kwenze kumhlole eAfrika today uhamba inkanga yomama utaka kulala phansi nashukuma inhlabathi wakhalwa Aretha Franklin wathi ndiyamkhapha lo mama kwenzeka izinto sajonga sathi into lenzekayo wayiqiqapha eAfrika uKofi Annan wathi ndiyakukhapha ndiyochaza kupresident kwenzeka ntoni na. We are here to give a message to this woman. We say, Mother, go and report to the president. Kofi Annan is next to you to give a report. Tell him today we are still living in South Africa, not in Tanzania. Why? Go well and tell him South Africa is here. It's being misused by the insurance companies. Our people are ready, buying investment for the life cover. But at last, the white man said, you buy a lapse. What's happened to our life? Tell Mama Africa. Kubonakala lo ndithetha ngaye. Ndithetha ngomama kaMiliswa. Ndiyakwimfazi omhle owazala amawele. Ntombi enhle eyeza nemfuzi kwalizwe. Namhlanje ilele kule ndawo. Ngayeda South Africa. Qhuba ilizwe lasekhaya. Maliye phambili. Sondela Pan-Africanist Congress. Walathi indlela sihambe. Liyenzakala ilizwe. Tela nhle mama. Uzwenjenje. Wenjenje.
if we become a united force and we fight the struggle together with a men folk. Re se ke ra re e tlo ba rona basadi fela ko pele re a ba nira le bona bontate moloto ba tsa re tsamaisane le bona je ka ha mme Sobukwe le yena a ile a lwana struggle sa ntate Sobukwe a thotse I don't want the media to be next to me because I know the media is going to destroy me or the media will build me. Ara ke batle the media ke batla fela hore struggle sa ka ke selwane ke thotse le bana ba ka ke phute ba lelapa la ka dintho tsa bona di tle di se bo loka hore ba se ba destroyed. So Mema Sobukwe we lwane ntwa we lwane ho fitlela ka jeno aba mdimo ya ba mo hopola a monka a motlosa mo ho rona fela rona re le setjhaba sa maAfrika hobane ra itlhaloganya ra understand hore re bomang re tswalwa ke bomang ba hale ba rona ba ile ba lwanela ena tukuluho ka tsela ya bona e ba lwanetseng ka yona fela today we can see who we are not being recognized. And for us not being recognized, you can see it is because of our own making. It is because of our own making. If we're really serious, really Africa, re sa dumele hore ho be le elements mo hara rona tse divisive. They are not bringing unity into this organization. They have their own agendas. Ne re tlo khona ho ba identify re ba pushetse ka mothoko re tsebe o aga mokgatlo ona wa rona. Because there's no any other organization that speaks the truth to power like the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania. So if we are not going to stand by those words, we are definitely going to go down the drain. This Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, it has to be protected. It is not owned by individuals. It is our own movement. Criticize our destroyer. We have to protect it. Mari, if it has to come to a push, let us protect this movement. It is the only organization that stands by the African people's struggle. The struggle is not over, my Africa. I think we are at the beginning of the struggle again. People are starving. People are starving. The question of the grants, we have to challenge those grants because they make our people to be dependent, more than 400 ranting. Our people must be able to make their own food and sell the food. We as the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, we are not saying, we are saying we need to produce food from those pieces of land. We are saying we need the natural resources so that those communities, rich, benefit. We are saying we need the land to come back to the African people. Our demands are not met, but they will only be met if our numbers match that demand. Israel.
Israel. Africa yetu. Train a woman. Train a woman. Train the nation. Train the woman. This is former President of PAO. And from here, I'm not going to defy you. From here, I hand over the program to the treasurer of the party, Comrade Mtsweni. She will take over from me. I've been overthrown, and these are the instructions. Izoletu, Africa, but the program itself is dominated by PAC women. Already we have got 2 women from PAC who have spoken. It will only be 1 man who will speak here. And there's also a reason for that 1 man to speak here. If he was not listening, it was going to be an all-power affair, and we're going to listen for a change. Thank you, Comrade Ellen. Comrade Mtsweni, you take over from here.
If bengasukuthi sihlonipha uMam Sobukwe, bengizoba naive nje ngivele ngithi qhubeka sowuqalile SG. But because we are not here to fight gender fights, I will just pay respect to Mam Sobukwe and take over and say, no matter how much they ignore us, sila. That is the reason why Abonile na yuguti, let me just leave it, because there's nothing else he could have done. Ayikwenye sila siyavela nje kancane sivele sivela noma bathi abasinaki basuppress, but we are here. They cannot. Yithe se clean amakhaya abahlala kuwo, yithi esipheka ukudla abakudlayo, yithi esibenza ukuthi babe smart njengoba nibabona abahleli la. It's us in the factories who are sewing the impahla abazigqokile. Anginandaba ukuthi yiVersace or Louis Vuitton, mara kunomfazi kulo factory. Yithi esiklina imishini ebagundayo. Yithi esihlala ema-factory yenza yona le mishini ebagundayo. And sekuyithi futhi esigubha indlela sizifake lamatha roads kusebenza thina. So they cannot ignore us. And now I have a complaint on my own. If you follow me on social media, you will know Uguti, since the passing of Mama Sobukwe, I'm declaring Uguti, she must live in me. I'm allowing myself that Mama Sobukwe lives in me. And it cannot be Upumzile Pasha only. All of us, let's allow her spirit to live in us. Because we need her strength. Today, because we are not only protecting ourselves, we are not only protecting our souls, we have to also protect our body because of nale mizimba yethu. So sidinga leso strength so that sizokwazi ukuthi sibhekane nazo zonke lama challenges esibhekane nawo. Angisi speak, I'm sorry. Ngiwu-program director, sengingene kakhulu, ngivele ngafudumala. I think now we will call on the president to come and give us the tribute from the PAC, Comrade President Narias Mloto. Ngizocela igwitshi nje eli strong. Ainamabiri Kikoloi Ainamahir Su Suta suta, when I sell out, house a suti, it'll suta suta. When I sell out, house a suti, it'll hata. Kikoloi, haina mariki. Kikoloi, haina mariki suta suta. When I sell out, house a suti, it'll hata suta suta. When I sell okay, masingaphikisanini. Masingaphikisanini. Africa. Joey, from Cape to Cairo. Leli nsizwa ngaphansi komhlaba isibhamu komhlaba Sobukwe ngaphansi komhlaba zilelinsizwa ngaphansi komhlaba alela maqhawe ngaphansi komhlaba inqwaba likaSobukwe ngaphansi komhlaba Sobukwe ngaphansi komhlaba alela maqhawe ngaphansi komhlaba ngaphansi komhlaba inqwaba likaSobukwe ngaphansi komhlaba ayilelisizwa ngaphansi komhlaba zilelinsizwa ngaphansi komhlaba inqwaba likaSobukwe ngaphansi komhlaba inqwaba likaSobukwe ngaphansi komhlaba
izwe lethu
Africa izwe lethu
eAfrica program director the leadership of the PAC that are here and all our guests and the members, everybody, the members of the media. Let me take this opportunity on behalf of the leadership of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania to once more greet you and thank you for
coming to this important occasion. Today we have gathered here in order to remember the life of a great person, a great fighter and icon in the struggle for our liberation, Mama Veronica Zondeni Sobukwe, a woman who sustained all the seasons of tribulations and of hardship, a woman who since joined the struggle for the liberation never gave up. She has gone through, she has seen them all. She has gone through all the difficulties, at times alone. She suffered and took a long journey looking after the founding president of the PAC, Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe, when he was incarcerated, and also when he was sentenced by Parliament to Robben Island. She was there and she remained there longly. She brought up kids on her own. She lived a life that signifies the true value of an African woman. It's a woman who never shaken. She never impersonated herself. She never wanted to be somebody she's not. She never sought popularity. She stood on principles all the way. Now, Mama Sobukwe is a woman that the woman of all generations, particularly the African women, should be able to emulate, to learn from. She has lived her full life. But the life that we are all proud of as the PAC, because from time to time we want to project a life that is complete, that is total. And we are struggling to pick up that kind of a lifestyle, or that kind of a life, a complete projection of an African womanhood and an African life. What kind of people should we be? And looking to the life that was led by Mama Veronica Sobukwe, we see exactly the sort of life that we would like to see. We would like to see a life that is a reflection of the future of Africa. Now, we are very proud today to celebrate. We are not mourning, we are celebrating, because no one is born to live forever. We knew that at one time we will lose her. At the age of 91, she died. But we are able to look at her life and learn and celebrate. And I'm sure, and she died at a month at the woman, the achievements of women in this country, in Africa, and throughout the world. So we are very proud as the PAC to have had a woman who looked after our founding president with pride, who was there all the time. Now, if you judge her on today's, what we are seeing today, obviously, you cannot have a woman of steel today, because people are opportunistic, people are looking for themselves, people are looking for the things that will only concern them. Mama Sobukwe, since she joined the struggle early in 1950s, She remained there. Now, this is the type of life, this is the type of people we would like to see, the African people. And each time you see her, you see a true person who represented the completeness of what we would like to see. This is what we are today celebrating. Now, the cause, why she has to go through all these things. She has gone through all these persecutions because she pursued a cause that was not a cause of Sobukwe's as a family, a cause which was for the African people, a cause which represents the freedom, the complete freedom of the African people in this country. She and her husband were Pan-Africanists, and the Pan-Africanist demands were very clear. They demand the end to colonialism. They demanded the return of the land. They demanded the end to political subjugation. They demanded that represent a true and genuine freedom, a freedom that will give the African people a right of self-determination, a right to decide their future, a right to think for themselves. This is what she's represented. They were proud of themselves as people, and they wanted their communities to be free people. Now, this is what Sobukwe and the PAC and the principle of Pan-Africanism stood for. Serving your people. The Pan-Africanist and the Pan-Africanism represent the values of people serving other people, redistributing the wealth of the country to other people, building a society that is caring. That's what Mama Veronica Zondeni Sobukwe represented. She did not represent the fakeness in the space of politics. Now we need to be true to ourselves if we want to emulate her. We need to understand ourselves and we need to understand our people. We need to stick and stand by the needs of the African people and the African values. Now, what is today complicating our politics and our lives? It's because people are pursuing their personal interest, are pursuing their family interest, are pursuing their sectional interest. They are not pursuing the interest of the people as a whole. They are not pursuing the societal interest. Now, Mama Veronica Sobukwe stood for the cause for which the PAC stood, which was not just to end oppression and apartheid, but also to develop and to restart the civilization of the African people, not only in South Africa, but worldwide, continental. We all know that before the colonialists colonized Africa, it was known as Africa and nothing else. It had no all these names that serve to divide us. They believe that the resources of Africa should work for the development of the African people. Those are the political values. All political leaders in this country, in Africa, must be able to use the political power to give the African people and the masses the economic power. And the economic power starts with the land, because the land is the beginning of life. This is the political value and the economic principle Mama Veronica Zondeni Sobukwe represented and stood for. That's why she did not impersonate herself and wanted to be like other people. And she knows that the real development is start with yourself, where you stand, where you are standing. How do you move from where you are to the future? 1,000 miles start with one step. And where is that step? That first step and the one step is standing from where you are. Let us not look from where other people stand and want to develop from there. We were taught by his husband, Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe, that the policies of our country must come from the experiences of our own people. We cannot move around the globe borrowing and taking the policies of those countries and try to impose them on our own people. If we begin to do so, we are losing our originality, we are losing our Africanness, and we will lose ourselves in the process. Now, Mama Zondeni Veronica Sobukwe never lost herself up until the last breath of her life. Now, we must emulate her and we must be like her in pursuing our political goals and in pursuing our economic goals. We must reconnect with our own self and we must focus into the future. The future is when we begin to understand where we are as a nation and as people. And she was able to project into the future that we need. Where do we want to go as a nation? Now, in this country, if all political parties were competing in parliament with what they are promising our people during the elections, with what they are writing in their own manifestos, this country would have made huge progress economically. We are not able to progress because the political parties are largely composed of dishonest people who are looking after themselves, who promises our people day in and day out lies. Now, our manifestos, if we all follow and combine the manifestos of all political parties, our people would have made progress economically, socially, and otherwise. But we are losing out because we are lacking the honesty of people like Mama of Azania, Mama Zondeni Veronica Sobukwe, who did not, after 1994, wanted to be like other people, change herself, and all of a sudden became a woman we do not know. She remained the woman we know. She subscribes to what she stood for, both in terms of the principles and values. We cannot afford to have rotten politics of no values. Corrupt politics is not what Pan-Africanism stood for. It's not what Mama Veronica Sobukwe stood for. She knew what the African people are and what they should get in order for them to be free. We are not a free people until we are completely and totally reconnected to what we have lost, which is the land. When we lost the land, we lost our dignity as people. And since then, we begin to struggle day in, day out. The poverty that we are experiencing today, mainly the African people, is because of that loss of the land. The inequality, the unemployment that we are talking about as a nice chorus, it is originating from the dispossession of the African people. Hence the message and the principle that the Pan-Africanist Congress stood for, that Mama Veronica Sobukwe stood for, she never understood a freedom that is landless. Because the landless freedom is basically the one that is responsible to spread poverty, inequality of the African people in this country. Now, therefore, by emulating the mother of Azania and our grandmother, the wife of the founding president of this country, we need to maintain, we need to go back to our basic and maintain ourselves. We mustn't at any stage in the political life lose who we are. Because once you do that, you'll never be like Mama Veronica Sobukwe. So let's go to the basic. Let's discover who we are, the value of life. She has lived a complete life. But that life is original. One of the biggest problems that we're experiencing is when we lose our originality and become something we do not even understand. Now, in that process, our politics become too artificial, and we do not understand politics. We keep on doing one and the same mistakes. The politics that are not able to give our people anything materially, anything tangible, those are artificial politics. And we must move away from that kind of politics. The politics that Mama Veronica Sobukwe taught us are the politics that link the people with their own land, with their future. In this country, we are in danger. And the danger, the first danger is losing oneself. And the second danger is the politics of confusion, where we get confused and we don't know why are we in the political space in the first place. Now, that is not the values, that's not what the founding fathers of our party, and also that's not what Mama Veronica Zondeni Sobukwe represents. Now, as we are remembering her life, we are remembering a great life indeed. And we are remembering a great person. We have lost the mother of the Azanian nation that we are trying to build alongside the South African nation. It's a school of thought that is very interesting. It's a school of thought that is original. And therefore, as and when we begin, and she died at a time when the politics in this country are about the land and nothing else. It's because the African people can no longer afford to be congested in the 13% of our land. They are overcrowding and they are beginning to overflow into the other 87% of the land, of which 10% was held in the hands of the state, the government, and it remained redistributed. Now, therefore, the life, how do you expect the nation, the citizens to be able to make their life if the main source of economy and the main source of social life is not made available to them? Now, therefore, we hope that the current debate, which we do not fully subscribe to, because when you said expropriation of land, it's a legal terminology, it's going to be trapped somewhere within the constitution and the legal fight. But when we said the repossession of the land is a political terminology, we own it, and we know what you are talking about. It's simple, that the dispossessed land ought to be returned and redistributed in such a way and manner that will begin to benefit our people socially and economically. That's what the PAC is saying. So therefore, the land is a very important social and economic source of life, of development. Without the land, you cannot begin to develop socially, you cannot begin to develop economically. That's why Soweto is overflowing with people into the squatter camps next to Soweto. And the squatter camps have now in all the townships. That is the case with all the townships. Which means that our freedom has a serious shortcomings in terms of utilizing it to benefit our people. Now, this is what we represent in the political space in this country. Now, we are not addressing the question of the land as by the way. The debate about the expropriation of the land and the work of the commission that move around and asking people a question, and I cannot call it a silly question, but people were being asked simple question: do you need the land? Do you need the land? How do you ask a dispossessed person whether he needs the land or not? Now, this was a political demand. This is one of the reasons why we went out to take up arms. This is one of the pillars, the fundamental issue why we went to war with apartheid regime. Now we cannot, 24 years later, move around and asking the community whether they want land or not. That is an irrelevant question. What the government and parliament must do, they must make sure that they introduce the policies that will distribute the land without disrupting the economy, which they distribute the land that will benefit the people now and in future. Now we are finding ourselves also trapped with the politics of greediness, of greedy people who want to take everything for themselves. We are forgetting to know and to think that whatever we do must benefit the future generation. There's a danger in the modern pursuit of politics in our country, that we are pursuing the politics of greed, which are intertwined with the politics of corruption, that we want to take each and every piece of available asset for ourselves as politicians. That is wrong. It must be condemned. Now our people must, whatever we do, our politics, we must preserve for the future generation, because we have kids. And if we take everything for ourselves, what will be the kids benefiting in future? Now therefore, there's a need for us to have a proper planning to plan the future. The people who are able to do that and do that correctly are the Chinese, because they will have a 5-year program, and in that time they know where they want to take their nation to, their country, their development in terms of social programs. Now here in South Africa, that's what we are lacking. We are lacking a vision. We are lacking those leadership and programs that tell us where we should be in the next 5 years, where we should be in the next 10 years, where we should be in the next 20 years. And the politics of blindness will take this country into the dustbin of history. And that we must avoid. That is not what Mama Veronica Zondeni Sobukwe represented. That's why she was a proud woman. That's why she died the way she has died. She was where she was and she was happy. We should not move around attracting things that will make us unhappy. Now, once you move away from the politics of originality, you adopt the politics of artificial and of appeasing other people of no value. You are attracting the unhappiness. You are also confusing the future. Now, in the PSC, we will never be confused or get shocked by the future, because we are able to anticipate the future. In 1994, or leading to 1994, in the discussion for the constitution of this country, we were very, very clear that unless and until a land is freed, together with the politics, we are going to have the problems in 20 years. And this was prophetic, because in 20 years, the people of this country, they begin to demand land. Now, any political party that tries to move away from the demand of the people is going to be irrelevant in the 2019 general elections. Because our people became conscious of their needs. Our people have seen them all. They have seen the promises coming and vanishing. But they remain poor. They remain landless. They remain unemployed. They remain inferior to others. And that's what we call inequality. Our inequality is all locked. Our unemployment is all locked in the land question. And once the land question has been resolved, the rest of the other evils, they are calling them the 3 evils, which we all admitting that they've been confronting this country, will end. But in celebrating the life of this great icon of our politics and of our struggle, we should remember one thing: never to lose ourselves, never to lose sight and track with where we are coming from, and never to lose sight with our future. As and when we go and take her to her final resting place in Galfrenet on Saturday, this is what we should always bear in mind, not to ever confuse our politics. Let's remain original. Let's move into the future. Now, as we are celebrating her life, let's also do the soul searching. Let's also rediscover ourselves. Who are we? And whether we remain who we are in the next couple of years or not. That calls upon all our people to take part into the day-to-day activities that will determine their future. Let me assure the women, because they've made a great stride and they've been making demands. The PAC has space for women from its inception. And before all the fashionable policies of equality, the PAC constitution has already made that provision. And it remained there. It is not amended. It has not changed. We see men and women as equals. Basically, the women are more dominant because they are the ones who are the financial directors and managers in the families. They decide everything. Is that there is space to grow once they are in the organization is encouraged at all times. We are building the party for the future. And maybe one should reflect in closing, because from time to time people confront us and say, how many PACs do you have? And also, how many presidents do you have? Now, Mama Veronica Sobukwe, on the 12th of May, when the leadership of the PAC went there to spend time with her, we were surprised by her knowledge and information. She was up to date of politics. She knows all the political parties. She knows all the political leaders. She understands the PAC. She understands what is happening in the PAC and around the PAC. She was never confused, even in 1 minute. Now, that is important to note. But people recently, they've been asking us about what was happening in Kimberley. And we consistently and continuously explained that in rebuilding the party and refocusing it into the future, we have been confronted with some challenges. And this challenge comes from those comrades that were with us in the PAC, that for one reason or another left the party, either through the disciplinary processes, and they are trying to reconstitute themselves as the PAC outside the PAC. And we are admitting that to some extent they've created confusion, particularly in the public space, to the people who don't know about what is in the constitution of the PAC. But what we are able to do is to clarify, to say those are not the members of the PAC. They have left the PAC. They've originally been with the PAC. Mama Veronica Zondeni Sobukwe understand all these things. When we visited her, she was able to, she is asking us about each and every one of them. And we're able to respond to all the questions that she was asking. But the message that she has had, and this is a final word to the leadership of the PAC, was keep the flag of the PAC high, keep on moving forward, that never go back. And we took that message with us, and as the leadership, ours is to continue building the party, continue working with our people, continue making sure that people are not, and our communities are not confused, and that they must eliminate all forms of and the sources of their poverty, the sources of their inequality. And by so doing, they'll be fulfilling the needs of the founding fathers of the liberation struggle in this country and in Africa. We are very proud to have had in our life Mama Veronica Zondeni Sobukwe. We'll always remember her. May her soul rest in peace. Izwe lethu, i-Afrika.
Uzolethu emnyango i-order asikakavali emnyango mafrika